Hello, Sandy Bates here with the United States Health Foundation. I'm the president and owner, and we're in our series of review chapters for our certified health coach exam. This is chapter 3 on motivational interviewing, active listening skills. We've discussed those already in brief, and now we're going to drill down and get into the meat of what health coaches actually do. Questions are powerful. They're very powerful, and that's our main tool is a method of questioning to pull out information from our client so we can learn what they're most interested in achieving as a goal. Again, this has to be something that they have confidence in that they'll do, and it's important to them. If not, you've already lost them as a health coach. So as I've been saying in the last couple chapters, stop telling people what to do. We're going to use motivational interviewing. There's different types of questions we use, and they're all very powerful. One is called open-ended questions. These are questions where they cannot answer with a yes or no. No's are really not a good thing when we're health coaching. Do you exercise? No. Do you diet? No. Now I have nothing. So I'd rather start with an open-ended question such as, what have you done in the past that you enjoy that's physically active? Or what would you like to do that's physically active? Name a few things that you would be willing to participate in. So they have to talk. And then I can listen to their answers and I can drill down or dig down a little deeper with another open-ended question. This is very, very time efficient. It's very specific. And I can get to information very quickly in a brief interview and then help them set up some goals. And we'll learn about those shortly. So my main intent is to interview my client to help myself understand what they may be interested in working on. I don't like to answer questions. If someone asks me a question, I usually throw it back to them. And Tom Hopkins, who's actually a master sales trainer and has written several books, says that he has a technique called a porcupine technique. And a porcupine is an animal with some quills on it, so it's something you don't want to be around. So his technique is if someone throws you a question, think of that as being a porcupine. Don't hang on to it, throw it back. So if someone says to me, Sandy, how should I lose weight? Now, all of you professionals out there listening to this, we can all come up with several different methods, including increasing physical activity, decreasing caloric intake. We could get more specific on things to eat, and a bunch of other methods. So that could be very timely, and we'll probably end up giving them a lot of information they don't care about. So if someone asks me, Sandy, how do I lose weight? I would look at them and say, well, what do you think is the best way for you to lose weight? Now, sometimes I'll get an answer I don't like I'm going to cut out all my carbs. That's probably not the best way to lose weight, and I know you understand that. So I would say, well, why would you want to cut out your carbs? And they say, well, my neighbor cut out her carbs and she lost 15 pounds. And I'd say, well, that's amazing. Is it possible your neighbor cut out calories that happen to be carbs? Of course. Well, there's some really good carbs out there. So sometimes we have to teach for a little bit. And then we would want to identify the not so good carbs. And that would hold true with proteins and fats. There's good fats and not so good fats. So I like to not answer questions. I like to throw them back to people because if they say, I'd like to lose weight, well, how would you like to lose weight? Or what do you think is the best way for you to lose weight? They may say, I know when I was walking on a regular basis and not having a second helping at meals, I did well. There's really not much more I need to discuss. I could ask them if there's anything else, or probably I'd start off with, is that something you think you'd like to try again? So I hope you understand questions are very powerful. Open-ended questions are the best. You can dig down, get a little more information. If they throw you a question, I throw it back usually. And then there's one more type, and that's called a tie down, where I want to summarize our conversation and let the person know I understand what they just said to me. Okay? A tie down would be after we've had a discussion, it sounds like you would much rather do your physical activity outside versus inside. And here's the tie down. Wouldn't you agree? And they're going to look at you and say, oh my gosh, you heard me, you understand, and I don't want to go to a gym. So I'd rather do it outside. So that's why I would tie it down saying, it sounds like you'd rather do your physical activity outside versus inside. Wouldn't you agree? So open-ended questions are important. Porcupine questions, and that's actually a test question. Those are on page 30 in the book. Open-ended questions are right there. And the tie downs are very good to summarize what was just said, and then you can lead right into goal setting. It's a very easy process. Motivational interviewing accomplishes two principles of most importance. One is it will free the health coach from bearing the responsibility of the client making the desired change in behavior, and it will empower the client by placing ownership of the change on themselves. Instead of me telling them what to do, when they tell me what they want to do, they own that. Wouldn't you agree? Another tie down. So a great technique of communication is to repeat back to the client what was just said. This is called reflective listening. So when they say something to me, I'll repeat it back to them. What are you looking to accomplish? I'd like to lose weight. Okay, so you'd like to lose weight. Is there anything else? Yes, I'd like to tone up. I'd like to lose a little weight around my abdomen, and I would like to maybe learn some nutrition principles. So I would repeat those back to the people so they know. I don't do it all the time because that could be a little annoying, but on a timely basis, I'm reflecting back to them. There's types of reflective listening, or a type of reflective listening that's not very good, and that's called parroting. You know what parrots are, and that's the person who just repeats everything back to you, and they don't necessarily have any feelings attached to it. So parroting is a common mistake that many people make. It means to reflect back just the facts of the statement without feelings. There's a test question regarding reflective listening, and there's a test question regarding parroting. Parroting is a form of reflective listening, just not the good form. The other problems with parroting, so listening without empathy, it decreases your chance of developing that all-important rapport and respect we talked about in chapter 1. So we want to make sure that we don't lose out by just parroting. So when you have a test question on parroting, it's probably going to be all of the above because it is a form of reflective listening. It decreases your chance of developing rapport and respect. There's tools that we can use to help people come to decisions, and one is actually called the decision balance. You may have heard of it as a cost-benefit ratio, and you can weigh out what's the benefits of not doing anything, what's the benefits of making some improvement, what's the cost of staying the same, what's the cost of making some improvements. So again, the people are telling you, you're not telling them. That's called the decision balance. On page 32, there's a couple scales, and I've referred to importance and confidence a couple times. These two have to play, these two play a very important role of helping someone set up a goal. And these are scales like your pain scales that you use in therapy, going from 0 to 10, 0 not at all important or not at all confidence, to extremely important to extremely confident. So when we come up with a goal that we want to obtain, I will ask the person on a scale of 0 to 10, how important is this to you? And I promise you, if it's not 8 or above, it's time to find another goal. And even more importantly, I'm going to ask them on a scale of 0 to 10 with confidence, not at all confident at 0, 10, extremely confident. They have to be extremely confident in order for your first health coaching session to get some success. So it's most important that the client starts off with a behavior change. They score 8 or above on each of these scales. Again, those are on page 32. So we're going to summarize motivational interviewing real quickly, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. So there's 3 key components to motivational interviewing. One is collaboration between the health coach and the client. One is evoking or drawing out the client's thoughts about change. And the other one is emphasizing autonomy. So what's the opposite of collaboration? It's confrontation. And I know as healers, that's not something you like, and I know your patients don't like confrontation. So we want to make sure we have a collaboration, or as I mentioned in the definition of health coaching, a relationship, a partnership. This builds that rapport and facilitates trust. And if any relationship is going to move forward, you have to have rapport and trust. Clients may see things differently than us, and that's okay. It's our role to help them see other opportunities for change. Evoking, drawing out rather than imposing our thoughts. The coach may know more options to solve an issue, but the client should be the one to determine what works best for them. This holds them responsible. And motivation to change is much stronger when it comes from within the client versus us. And then autonomy versus authority. Again, this empowers the client. It makes them accountable. There's generally not a right or wrong way to change. Whatever works for the client is their right way. You as a healthcare professional have to determine if it's safe and effective. But other than that, clients can come up with some wonderful methods to change behavior. Okay, that concludes chapter 3, and we'll move on here in a minute to chapter 4, and I hope you're enjoying these sessions.